Just a few weeks ago, over 100 migrants were accused of cutting the border fence and forcing their way into the States. I've been going through the body camera video all day as we get a better understanding of this encounter between El Paso police officers and this 35-year-old man on April 14th. Border Patrol has not taken down this razor wire, as you can see right behind me, and Governor Greg Abbott is not planning to back down. Well, in just a few months, a 13-acre area surrounding Bonham Elementary will be completely transformed. Trees fallen down like the one that you see behind me, power lines down for several days, and properties damaged is just some of the things I saw today just walking by the neighborhoods. This week, City Council will once again be discussing a new multi-purpose center and whether they'll be moving forward with the item. I spoke to some El Pasoans to get their thoughts on this project, which has been in the works for over a decade now. What started as a normal holiday celebration for many saw an altercation, leaving one man in the hospital. I went out today just after the apparent shooting occurred to ask residents what they think. This news developing so quickly that some people hadn't even heard about it. Homeland Security Department's Inspector General has ordered an investigation into the planning of the weekend rally where former President Trump was shot. Well, months after the city ended its relationship with the El Paso Zoological Society, City Council approves a new place to keep zoo funding. We're now learning more about the federal case against Ismael El Mayo Zambada, the co-founder of the notorious Sinaloa drug cartel, following his arrest in Santa Teresa last week. Starting today, January 1st, 2024, there are 30 new state laws that will be going into effect, but there are a few in particular that we wanted to take a closer look into. And they're going to bring out a mattress to try to get them as comfortable as possible. But as you can see, this area is very small and very restricted. There's no privacy for any of these girls. Players out in the field tell me that the weather out here feels 10 times hotter than it actually really is. As you can see, I'm standing in an area that has been impacted and the power lines have been down for several hours now. The family has been without electricity, they say, since earlier this afternoon, and some family members are outside redirecting traffic to make it safer for other drivers passing by. They were under a cyber attack warning, slowing business down, and the business manager tells me that they are trying to work around that to bring more customers in. It was here in that courtroom right behind me where Eduardo Blanco heard the words "not guilty." I was in that courtroom and it was in complete silence while the judge was reading the verdict that you can even hear a pin drop.
We're gonna go pull over this car now. I was doing 38.
It's a quarter after 10 a.m. and Officer Nick Oswick has already pulled someone over for speeding.
Good morning. Could you do me a favor and just pull in that parking spot right there so we're out of the road? Yep.
A lucky day for this driver. Officer Oswick just gives them a warning.
What I'm doing right now is I'm just running her registration and her driver's license.
Officer Oswick and the rest of the Port Jervis Police Department is participating in a statewide enforcement initiative.
524.
It's sponsored by the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee's ongoing efforts to reduce speed-related crashes. Officer Oswick has been with the Port Jervis Police Department for a little over a year, but has worked as a police officer for over 4 years.
I think it's an important part of the community for kids walking around to be as safe as possible, and that's why we advocate to do the speed limit and then why we enforce it.
Oswick says there is a specific season when people speed the most.
I think the speeds vary from season to season personally, whereas the summer is where we get some higher speeds, and I think that's due to people commuting to see our beautiful river city.
The department reports so far in 2022, there have been a total of 207 reported motor vehicle accidents. This time last year, there were 180 reported accidents. Oswick says they are trained to detect people speeding.
We have a bunch of training. We have to do 500 speed estimations within 5 miles an hour. 5365, I'm a traffic stop.
Within just minutes, he notices another car speeding. This driver was not so lucky.
I'm Officer Oswick from the...
Turned around, I was like, damn.
Yeah, I think we all know that life happens. You want to speed and go to work, or you want to speed and pick up your kids, but the most important thing is for you to get there safely. I mean, if you can allot some time, some extra time on the road, just in case there's construction or you're catching all the red lights, so you don't have to speed.
Jacquelyn Quinones, Spectrum News. Freshening up another client is Gabriel Herrera. Gabriel was born and raised in Newburgh, but his parents came from Mexico.
My parents, when they came to this country, they always envisioned that no matter what we did, we'd be well off or more well off here than growing up where we're from. Where we're from a small town in Puebla, and I've been there a couple times, and there's not too much that you can really do over there.
Gabriel says because of his parents' sacrifice, he and his 3 siblings got to live their version of the American dream.
Honestly, it's really tough just knowing how hard my parents struggled when they first got here, you know? It was weird times when they had come, and it didn't really at the time seem like they were it was easy to them. In fact, it was very difficult. They worked really, really hard and did what they could to support us.
Gabriel says the recent headlines of migrants coming to the Hudson Valley and other parts of New York inspired him to want to help. He decided to help in the only way he could, by providing a haircut.
You know, we actually had somebody come here earlier at the barber shop looking for a job that is one of these people, you know? So I feel like overall the community event should be something great, you know? Something that as simple as a haircut will push along that overall support that they have here.
Gabriel hopes that his efforts will inspire others to want to help those less fortunate. He also hopes the asylum seekers know people in this community are here to help.
I am son of immigrant parents, you know? And I know that when they came to this country years ago, they didn't have this support, they didn't have these things, they didn't have, you know, something as simple as a haircut, you know, their basic needs had to be met before something like this, you know, could be done to them.
Jacquelyn Quinones, Spectrum News.
On behalf of 201, they give you your certificate and your calendar so that you can stay focused and on top of everything.
Before the program, I was not a good person. I was drinking all the time. Sometimes, yes, I would go behind the wheel, I'm gonna go home, I'm fine. And I did get pulled over. Luckily, it did not hurt anyone or myself, but I was drinking a lot, car accidents I was involved in all the time.
Alexis Escarcega is one of 8 people that graduated the DWI intervention and treatment program in April. She recalls being reckless and getting into a lot of trouble since a very young age.
So just things like that kept happening to me, and it was just not good. Fights. And this was about like 4 months before I got pregnant, and that's when I realized I did have a problem.
Escarcega remembers her mother getting calls at 2 a.m. after being involved in several car accidents.
I almost died in one of them because I was not wearing my seatbelt. So the only thing that saved me were the airbags, but it did knock me out unconscious.
After Alexis was charged with her second DWI, she was led by Judge Robert Anchondo to join the DWI treatment program in March of 2022. This is an 18-month program broken down into 5 phases that includes strict protocols. Escarcega says she wasn't even sure that she would be able to abide by the rules since she was dealing with a lot of personal matters at the time, from recovering from an abusive relationship to even getting pregnant.
It happened for a reason, me getting pregnant, and now I understand why. Because if I weren't pregnant, I don't know if I would have lasted through the program. I would have relapsed even more. I would have maybe killed somebody because I didn't learn the second time.
It was her daughter's birth that changed her life forever.
And when I was pregnant, I did get into a car accident, and that's how I went into labor with my daughter, because of a drunk driver.
Luckily, Escarcega delivered a healthy baby girl, but she understood that life could be taken in an instant.
We don't know who it was. I had no clue about any of who it was. I just knew that they were okay. Everybody else was okay except for me. And I have forgiven because I've learned in this program to let go.
Escarcega says as demanding as the program was and the amount of times she wanted to give up, The program changed her life for the better, and she has the judge to thank for that.
He molded me to be less selfish, walk away, think about somebody else other than yourself, and just become a responsible adult.
Judge Robert Anchondo is the man behind the program, which has been in place for almost 20 years. He says it will be 20 years with a graduating class of almost 700 repeat offenders from the program.
I deal with a high-risk, high-need individual. It's called a model, so these are the folks that, they pose a serious public safety concern, and they are repeat offenders.
Anchondo says he has the help of his team to monitor each individual and give them the help that they need. And each individual may face different issues that are deeply rooted in their past.
Could be culture, could be environment, trauma. They may be suffering from some mental health issues that maybe haven't been addressed for many, many years.
Anchondo believes that putting these repeat offenders in jail is not always the solution to solving the drunk driving problem.
I will say some need it, okay? I'm not saying that it shouldn't be there. But I think a majority, we have found that we're releasing people from prison because it's a drug abuse issue. It's something that needs to be given attention.
Overall, Anchondo is proud of the work that goes into the program and hopes to bring more awareness to drunk drivers and repeat offenders.
Every day, we just hope that we can just change somebody.
For Escarcega, she has goals to achieve her bachelor's and become a counselor of some sort. And her message to those that decide to drink and drive.
Think about everybody else that you're going to impact. And if you want to ruin your life, then do that on your own. Do not get behind the wheel.